Andy Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Chris Eubank Jr. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Glad to hear it. Big rematch with Liam Smith, and although you weren't the victor in the first fight, it seems all the questions, all the drama is centred on you. This is not a situation you've been in before. Are you relishing it?
Absolutely. I've always been the type of fighter to enjoy and thrive under pressure. And there's nothing more, there's no more pressure than like having to fight a man who has a win over you. That is the ultimate pressure. And I think that's going to bring the best out of me.
Before the defeat to Liam Smith and the nature of it, did you feel you were indestructible? All the people talk about your iron chin. Did you kind of go along with that? Did you have that self-belief?
I didn't go along with anything. What people say doesn't matter to me. I know what I've done in the gyms. I know the punishment I've taken. I know what I can absorb. That's where I got all my confidence from. And I'm still extremely confident. But you can only swim for so long without getting very wet. I got wet that night. He caught me with an illegal shot, and then he followed it up with two great shots, and it buzzed me. I went down, got back up immediately, which maybe I shouldn't have done, but it's uncharted territory. It never happened to me before. Shortly after that, the fight was stopped. I think that I could have continued. I think the referee should have let me either take my beating or let me, recover and, have a shot at winning the fight, which I believe would have happened. But we'll never know. So now I have to go in there and, make sure I don't give this guy any opportunities. I gave him that window of opportunity. Before the fourth round, I was in control. I was jabbing his head off and then catching him with the great uppercuts in the third round, and maybe that success gave me a false sense of security or a moment of complacency, and he capitalized on that, and that's my fault. Protect yourself at all times. I didn't do that, but that mistake will never be made again.
A lot's been made of your tactics in the fight, but you maintain that you were controlling the fight for 3 rounds. So from your point of view, does anything need to change in terms of the approach?
That's the thing, if you get beaten up for 4 rounds and then knocked out, then you have to look at what you did and you have to say, right, this was wrong. We got to change the strategy up completely. This didn't work. But when you're in control and then you get caught, then it's like, all right, well, it's harder to then pick parts of your performance that you need to change. I think the thing that really mostly needs to change is maybe the mindset. Maybe I did underestimate him a little bit. Maybe I did get a little bit too complacent at times. But I feel like the strategy was working. It just wasn't meant to be that particular night.
Are you planning to work again with Roy Jones for this fight?
Absolutely. Roy's my guy.
What was his response to the defeat? Is it very similar to yours? Have you guys talked about it much?
Yeah, I think we're definitely on the same page. We definitely know what we're going to be working on for this next camp. And yeah, a lot of people say, people are so quick to say, you need to change coaches after a loss. But I don't feel that is going to benefit me in any way, going and trying to find some brand new coach. I have a great relationship with Roy. I spend a lot of time with him. We understand each other. And things didn't go our way that night, but we can work on things. We can improve on things, so yeah, me and Roy are still good.
You clearly don't pay much mind to what people are saying on social media and that kind of thing, but are you aware of it? Are you aware of when there's either criticism, speculation, questions about you? Do you pay any attention to it?
I don't pay attention to it. I see it. It's, obviously I'm on social media, so I see comments. I see, the people saying what they're saying, and but do I let it affect me? Do I sit there and scroll through each one and read all this? No, of course not. I have a life to live, and most of the people that are talking don't know anything about boxing anyway. I learned very early on that you have to not block all of it out, but you can't absorb all of that. There's too many different opinions from too many different people who don't know what they're talking about. The guys who know what they're talking about are the guys in the gym every single day, like me and Roy. So we listen to ourselves.
I know you've been asked this already probably a few times today, but how close did you come to taking a fight with Conor Benn as opposed to this second fight with Liam Smith?
We were in negotiations. There was a substantial offer made, but in the end, I decided that it wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right place, and I needed to get my get back. I needed to avenge this loss.
Was the offer for the Conor Benn fight, you just said it was a very big offer, was it more lucrative than the rematch financially purely?
Of course. That's that fight is, a super fight, a mega fight. This is a big fight, but it's not worldwide. It's like I've just come from Vegas. I'm walking through casinos. Yo, what's going to happen with you and Conor Benn? Americans, so that's that level. This is a very big fight domestically and in the boxing scene, but people outside of boxing may not really know about Liam Smith. Everybody knows about Conor Benn and me.
So you've chosen pride and vengeance over money in this case?
I guess you could say that. Those aren't my words, but I guess you could say that.
Why have you made that decision? Is it just that fighter's mentality?
Like I said, at this particular moment in time, this is the fight that felt right. This is the fight that made the most sense to me on in terms of my career, in terms of my business. There's things I can't actually talk about when it comes to fighting Conor, but there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of business going on, and I came to the conclusion that fighting him in a few months' time wasn't the best idea.
And the Smith rematch, in terms of where you'll be if you win the rematch and if you lose it, the difference between those two positions, does this become the biggest fight of your career?
Yeah, it's the first time I'm fighting somebody who has a win over me. I've never been in a rematch with somebody before. So absolutely, this is the biggest fight of my career. And I have to perform. I have to go in there and do what I know I can do.
Have you ever felt that level of pressure before, going into a fight?
No, because I've never had a rematch with somebody.
What will you do, or have you even allowed it to enter your mind if it doesn't go your way on June 17th?
Not even entertaining the questions.
What will be the difference in the Chris Eubank we see on the 17th compared to the first fight in January?
I'm a man on a mission. I have a chip on my shoulder now that wasn't there before. I have to go out there and prove myself. Talking is not enough. I've got to go out there and do it, and I will do that.
And just finally on the Conor Benn situation, you talked about, you wanted the fight to be in the UK, you didn't want it to be over there. The reason why it was planned to be over there is because of Conor Benn's issues that he's got at the moment. UCAD have since provisionally suspended him. What do you make of that? Because you were famously still willing to fight him after he failed the first test and you were informed. Again, that's that fighter's mentality. You still seem to be willing to fight him now. Is that an endorsement of his, well-meaning, or is it just the fact that you really want that fight?
I'm not endorsing anything to do with what Conor's done. But at the same time, we have to fight. The fight's too big. It's too personal. It's too, it's too lucrative. There's too much on the line in terms of everything. It's a huge, huge fight. So regardless of all the stuff he's done and dealing with, I will never not entertain that fight. But there's a time and a place, and the time and the place is not in June of this year.
Chris, wish you the very best of luck for June 17th. And let's do this again.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.